How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about just doing things to the best of your abilities, right? I'm not talking about alcohol here or quitting drinking alcohol. I think that's something that, everyone is capable of doing, and you shouldn't, make any allowances for that. There's no drink, that's it, no drink, right? But I'm talking about afterwards and pushing yourself forward and learning new skills and all that kind of stuff. I'm a massive believer in the growth mindset as apart from the fixed mindset. And this is something, I can't remember the woman who developed this, but it's a mindset where if you have a fixed mindset, you're born and you go throughout your life thinking that what you have, the abilities that you have in your life are fixed, right? That you can't expand on them. What you're born with is what you get, basically. The growth mindset, on the other hand, is sort of along the lines of that you believe you were born with a certain gifts, a certain range of abilities, but that you can grow and you can expand those abilities and you can expand them into whatever area you want to take on, right? And I think the key word there is want, right? I love the sound of Spanish guitar, right? Spanish guitar and the classical guitar, just like that sound. I think I can listen to that in the background. I'm not a great fan of music, but I did enjoy playing it. And I bought a guitar for myself. This was before I quit drinking. And I went to lessons. I took some lessons with a young guy. And I think I did about 12 lessons, and I was getting really good at playing maybe 3 or 4 different tunes. I'd managed to get my fingers attuned to pressing the frets and pressing the guitar strings and doing all the strumming or whatever, the picking. But I never really got a real buzz out of it. I got a buzz out of playing the certain songs, but I never got a buzz in the long term. So I never really pursued it, and although it's in my mind, I'd love to do this, I'd love to be able to play, it's not something that I want to put the work into that would be involved in order for me to play well, I'm not really a person that listens to a lot of music, I prefer the peace and quiet and stuff. I listen to music sometimes, if I'm out walking and stuff and my mind is not with it, I'll stick on some Billy Joel or something like that, and just take my mind off things. That's the only time that I really listen to music. So if you lock me inside a room with a guitar teacher for 6 months, right, I would probably be able to come out and I'd be able to bang out a few tunes. But that practice, that over and over again, playing the same chords over and over again, that is just beyond me, right? It's just not in my mind to be able to do. So I think that's the basal ability that I don't have, right? That patience for learning that kind of thing. Same with chess. I would love to be a great chess player, but I don't have that basic patience to sit there and master the different moves that it would take to get there, I'm good at pool. I used to enjoy playing pool, but I got good at pool because it was something to do when I was in the pub, and often now when I play pool, people see what level of skill I've got with pool, and they say, Jesus, you had a wasted youth, and it's true, but that was just something I did. And the same thing goes with reading. I love reading. I have the patience to sit down, and I could spend 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours in a day just reading through a book, and I read all different types of stuff, whether it's from fiction, science fiction, action stuff, that kind of thing. Mostly I'd read non-fiction. I love psychology books, I love self-help books, I love all that kind of stuff, and I could do it, right? I could do that, as I said, 5, 6, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day, no problem. A few years ago, again, before I stopped drinking, so there's probably going to be a caveat in that, I went to do an Open University course, right, in literature, and I've always liked reading. Dostoevsky, Dickens is one of my favourite authors going back, to when I was a kid. I read Christmas Carol every year, coming up to Christmas. It's only a very short book. I usually do it in a couple of nights, and I thought from that I'd really be able to get into this degree course. And once I got into it, what the first year was all about, it was a general arts year. So I had to learn about music, poetry. I think there was some politics in there, and literature. And I found it boring, the whole thing. It was completely different to reading. You had to read in order to take apart what was being said and analyze what was being said. And for me, it was just something I didn't want to do. With that particular stuff, I can read self-help books and I can sort of take it apart in my head and I can sort of rework things around. But with literature, I just didn't want to do it. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't really into the stuff that was on the course. But anyway, I didn't do it and I dropped out before the year was through. So like I say, it might have been because I was drinking and I just wasn't seeing many things through then. I was seeing my day job through because I had to earn the money, that kind of thing. But other than that, I wasn't doing it. I think in a lot of ways your skills are a reflection of your abilities, right? And in other ways your abilities are a reflection of your skills. You can learn skills in one area, but if you don't have that natural ability to, if you haven't got an empathy with music, for instance, or with literature, or if you don't really like to dance but you fancy being a dancer, then it's not going to work out for you. So you've got to sort of go for the things that match your abilities that you've learned growing up. But you can learn any skill if you put your mind to it. If you really want to do something, you can learn anything. Nothing is past you. And as I say, a lot of my experience with learning new skills were always under the influence of being a drinker. Maybe not under the influence of alcohol, but under that influence of being a drinker. So it permeates your thinking. When you have an overall habit like this, right, a bad habit, especially with any drug, right, that thinking just permeates every other different aspect of your life, right? Whether it's your work, your home life, or learning something new, progressing in your life. So for me, all those years of being a drinker, maybe that just pushed me up. I mean, I'm finding myself doing things now which I never would have thought. I'm starting a degree in a couple of months in psychology. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I've always been putting it off. But now's the time to do it. I think I've got a huge advantage now in my life because I've got a lifetime of stuff behind me, personal things behind me, personal experience behind me. I've a lifetime of reading. A lot of that stuff might not have sank its way in, but a lot of that self-help books and psychology and stuff is still in there. Hopefully it's there for me to learn. I mean, time is going to tell, right? Giving it the first year anyway. I'm going to have to pay for the first year, and then we'll see how things go after that. I don't know. See how it goes. Going on to your relationship with alcohol. My relationship with alcohol, as a drinker, you have the relationship where you are drinking, you're thinking about drinking first, you're drinking, and then you're going through the hangover, the consequences of all that and drinking. And once you stop drinking, you've got to realign everything, realign your thoughts, realign how you think about yourself, realign how you think about other people, how you think about certain situations in your life, certain places, like the pubs and restaurants and stuff like that, and just put those into a different perspective into your head. You've got to sort of bring these out in a different way. You've got to think about them and put them into a different, alcohol is still going to be there. People drinking alcohol are still going to be there. So you have to deal with that. But relearning these skills and realigning this alcohol thinking within your mind, that's how you deal with it, is you start to think about alcohol in a pub in a different way. I mean, for me, I go to the pub, I watch a match, I'm out the door, When I listen to people who are drunk, I'm out the door. I don't listen to it anymore because, at first it's sort of funny, and it's funny in one hand, and on the other hand it's sort of, you're looking at it and you're sort of cringy and you're thinking, Jesus, was I really like that? Did I talk that much shite, But then eventually you get used to it and you go, yeah, I'm not listening to it anymore, Don't have to listen to it. It's not funny anymore. It's not giving me anything. It's only taking away my time, And you only have a certain amount of time, so get the hell out of there, you know, don't listen to it no more. You know, so when you are quitting alcohol, you just have to realize that the first step is actually not putting the alcohol into your mouth anymore. So that's it, zip, no more alcohol, right? Once you've done that, then you learn new skills very gradually, right? And you build on the skills that you already have, right? You build on the abilities that you already have, right? You build new abilities. And as you're approaching these new areas of life, whether it's in your home, your career, whether it's in your education or trying to improve your health, right? You do these in a very methodical, a very step-by-step way, right? Moment by moment by moment, you build and you gradually expand on these skills. That's all it takes, you know? Don't think about this in the long term of, I've got to learn this and I've got to learn that and I've got to be this person, I've got to be that. You will eventually get to that person. This is the whole thing. You have to give yourself the time. You have to give yourself patience in yourself, right? That you've got to go from being a drinker, from thinking as a drinker, into not thinking as a drinker, right? Thinking as the person you want to be. And that's a gradual process. It's a natural process, right? It's a process that we have to go through all our lives in different stages of our lives. You know, when you're a baby and you're first born, you're just a bundle of, you know, nothingness. You know, you just cry and poop and that's it, you know, and look gorgeous, right? But gradually you sort of assume this identity as a toddler, and you've got to go from being that baby into a toddler. And think about all the different skills that you've got to learn to be able to stand up and walk and talk and feed yourself and do all those things that maybe a 2 or 3, 4-year-old is able to do. That's a lot of skill learning. You know, that's a lot of skills that you've got to take on board, you've got to learn. And it's only done step by step by step by step. And this process will follow you through for the rest of your life, you know, if you let it. You know, that's the growth mindset, is moving from where you are now to where you want to be. And thinking about that, visualizing it, thinking where you want to be, and thinking, well, how can I do that? And then just taking the first step, and then the next step, and then the next step, and the next step, and eventually you'll get there. And then you think about something else, and you want to be something else, and that's it. That's what it's about. So, look, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Stay safe. Keep the alcohol out your mouth and do things to the best of your abilities. That's all you can do, you know, step by step by step. Just take it step by step by step. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Onwards and upwards. Take care.